Good morning, San Francisco.
Good morning from the south of France and my favorite European cafe, Panera.
Panera. Oui,
Um,
oui.
Welcome to the show.
How are the baguettes?
They are delicious, but crispier than you think. I saw one as tall as long as I am tall.
Oh, really?
Which makes it awkward to carry around in your pants.
Did you actually see one that was that big?
No, I've just seen photos of the French baguette, like the old school, like historical photos. And then there'd be like a woman carrying like six of them and they're like bigger than she is.
That's funny.
It would be cool. I would love to go to France.
Yeah, as would I. As would I. I
South,
took
south of France.
I took some lessons in college for French. I don't remember anything, but I really enjoyed the class.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go there and scream, "Can I have some freedom fries?"
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that would be very successful all around.
Uh, what's the joke? It's like there's an ad for a French rifle. It says "Never fired, dropped once."
Hilarious. Never. Oh man, awesome. So
Well,
we gotta
we,
we
we
gotta
tried to do one yesterday.
we tried to do one yesterday. Yep.
We tried to do a live find that flip on site, just through like the Facebook Live, which is a little different than our streaming platform that we use here. Service dropped,
But
typical
also,
Western Massachusetts with cell service.
although in all fairness, it's beginning to suck everywhere.
If your phone is old, I think they're literally just turning it off. Like there's so many features on my phone that don't work. I mean, it doesn't help that it's like completely shattered. This is not an iPhone ad, although I recommend them. Um, well, you can't really see here, but like it's completely like you can see the back is like beat up. That may have something to do with it, but yeah, it's just like so many things just stop working.
Mine has no dings, and
No dings,
also mine also
no case gang.
no case gang. That'd be a hilarious shirt. It's
Yeah,
just
anti-phone case social
yeah,
club.
yeah, anti phone case.
So there's people with those anti-social social club shirts. I'm like, fucking loser.
Oh, why? Where did that come from?
No idea. I just think now like it was probably funny initially, and now I'm seeing so many of them that I'm like, this sounds dumb.
I'm going to the website right now. So it's just okay. So they're apparel. That's it. They're club fashion. This area is only
As I
available.
said,
Yeah.
whatever.
Expensive hoodies. $100
Yeah,
hoodies.
yeah. Not a chance you'll see me in that.
You'd look good in
Not a
one.
chance. Yeah, I look good in a lot of hoodies, but I'll spend less on something that says something much cooler. Nama's titties.
Ay ay ay. And we're off.
Read in the comments. All right. All right. So we want to talk about some real estate. The building we were looking at yesterday.
I think that's a good idea.
So yesterday we were out in Springfield, Massachusetts, looking at some kind of getting back into the deal hunting a little bit. I think one of the biggest things that we've been missing in our business for a while, and for various reasons, but like just the transacting part of the business. Like we held our portfolio for a while. We've been making a lot of improvements to it over the past couple of years, but we haven't really been doing a lot of transactions, like always buying and or selling something. And that is like a really fun part of the business. So it's fun to be in a place with one of our investors where they want to leverage an existing property with no debt to then buy one or two more that we can grow the portfolio with. Thanks, Zorillo. Harry Boner, I think, is a cooler name than Zorillo. But anyway, it's all right. I'm getting distracted by the comments. So yeah, we were out deal hunting because we're in a position with this particular partner to expand our little mini portfolio together as part of our larger company one. So kind of back to hunting those like 2 and 3 family, the mid-size like on the smaller end of the multifamily scale, and found a couple that were interesting.
I really like, I love this 1031 exchange model. The fund is awesome, but you can't put 1031 exchange money into a private equity fund. It's, it's got to be like a direct transfer of title, same ownership, and the fund, obviously makes that not work. But, this investor who came in with us, that one deal is now turning into, it's going to turn into another building, potentially two more, and inside 18 months of doing that deal together. And these last two leads that that call we had yesterday with that other gentleman for another 1031. I mean, what a great way to pick down different deals and effectively just get a budget to go hunting.
Yeah, for sure. It creates these little miniature sort of pocket partnerships across the board, and um, it's it also, like, I think a lot of these 1031 investors, unless they are active in the business, like we've got some friends that are active in the business and it's what they do full time. They've 1031 a number of deals over and over again because they're like grow, delay taxes, delay taxes, delay taxes. It's a great strategy, but there's a lot of 1031 sellers that are, they've owned a property or two. This kind of fits the profile of these, our existing partner and then the conversation last night. They've owned a property or two. Maybe they're getting a little older. Maybe they just don't want to do management, and they're like, okay, I've owned this for 5 years. And I'm kind of tired of it, or whatever. I'm liquidating it. And anyone who's owned anything for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, if they've owned it for that long, like, there's been a ton of appreciation almost no matter what type of asset it is. And if they're selling, then there's a solid chance that they probably don't, like, they know the power of 1031 exchange, but they're probably tired and they probably don't want to manage or have the time or expertise. So that's obviously the value that we can fill.
There it is, man. That's the value we can build. And then the YouTube can give us a ridiculous comment chat, and that's the value YouTube brings.
That's right, baby. I'm just waiting on the hair plugs.
Gosh.
But at least I know I'm not going to go bald.
Sometimes I've thought, like, what if I just buzzed it all off?
It's a good test for yourself. I did it in college just to check to see, like, what I would look like bald with a beard. Thankfully I had a beard then. And I was like, let me just straight razor it off. You want to see a photo? There's a live stream. Want to see a photo?
Yeah, I do. I think I did it when I was 21, 22. Liked it.
It could be a good look. All right, I'll find a photo.
Maybe one of these days we'll do it on a live stream.
You want to shave your head?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't see it in here. I know it's in here. But I'm not going to waste everyone's time looking for it. I tried to search the location and I don't see it. But my camera roll's chilling at around 12,000 photos, so you don't want to see me look through those.
Casual. All right, to all of our hippopotamus fans in the chat, we're going to look at a piece of real estate that we want to potentially buy.
Can't even spell hippopotamus.
It's spelled out.
That's how you spell it.
Spelled out in front of you, I think. Yeah. At minimum, you got the emoji.
All right, let me pull up. If our producer wants to get, I don't know if it's sharing yet. I'm looking at the MLS. Is my screen shared?
No, he's on a cigarette break.
He's on break.
he's on a cigarette break.
Oh wait. Let me know when it's pulled up.
Light-skinned boy to funny. That's okay, man. That's all right. Everybody starts somewhere, you know. And the great thing is that people watch these later on. So any type
That's
of,
great.
if you're an entrepreneur or if you're trying to start a small business, whether it's a blog or like a Facebook Live or a video walkthrough or just putting something out that you can pepper to your list or stay on your feed. It's a great way to spread spread the message of your company. It's been a great way for us to raise cash inside of our company over the last 9 years. Harrison's the one on break. Apparently, we are back in this. All right, we can all see the stream.
We're back. Light skinned boy too funny is apparently watching,
Yep,
even though he's calling himself nobody, but that's okay. One day we'll be popular enough where I don't have to call out the bots in the chat.
Maybe the bots in the chat.
All right, we're looking at two multifamilies in Springfield. This one came on yesterday, which I found interesting. 250 grand. Looks to be pretty good shape.
Let's peek it.
Probably needs a little work, but vacant 2-family, 2-bedroom units. This needs a little less work than the one we looked at yesterday. Always still some, but it's still at 250.
Pretty clean looking.
Yeah, pretty clean looking. Not a bad little deal. We can, if these other one or two don't work out, we can take a peek at this one. All right, but this is the one we looked at yesterday, 2931 Rush Street in Springfield, completely vacant. This is a bank-owned property. This is part of the conversation today is that it says here that this is a 2-family property. So that's what we showed up expecting. And as we take a look inside here, it's got it needs a new roof. It needs some carpentry work here. The back needs a lot of cleaning, some additional work, needs gutters. The insides, need heavy turnover work, floors refinished, outlets, lights, plumbing upgrades, cabinets, vanities, some flooring, probably $15,000 to $20,000 per unit on the inside. But we've seen much worse condition apartments, really spacious 3-bedroom apartments, kitchen, dining, living room, and then the bedrooms you can't see on the right side of this photo that kind of go down this side of the unit. But a really large 3-bedroom unit. This is one of the bedrooms on the first floor, bathroom on the first floor. The other bedroom, probably an old, we want to check the plumbing, make sure any plumbing leaks have been resolved. But yeah, not too bad of condition. Let's see here. I'm lagging here in my photos. There we go. I think this is still downstairs. I think this is now upstairs. Yes, is upstairs. So relatively similar condition. Needs flooring. This is where that roof leak is. But not too bad.
Not bad at all.
And then there are no photos of the suspected 3rd floor. So I'm gonna get back to the outside. So this is the front of the house. As we're going through the house, you go up the back stairs, and I found a surprise 3rd floor unit. So up here on the 3rd floor, there's a large studio. Already has a kitchen, already has a bathroom. It's honestly probably in better shape than the other 2 floors. And you actually there's 2 egresses. There's the back staircase that's through the back of the house, and then this staircase here. You actually enter and you immediately go up another set of stairs that leads you to the 3rd floor. This door here, you go in, you go up a set of stairs, and it leads you to the 2nd floor. So that's how these egresses work. But it's got 2 egresses, and initially I just assumed that it was an illegal 3rd floor apartment because the agent is disclosing illegal 2-family, and we said, okay, well, how can we convert, make this apartment illegal? So, obviously there's a ton of value to be added there. There's already the infrastructure for a third unit, but we just have to go through the legal process. And typically what we would do is you would have to go to the zoning board of appeals and you'd have to say, I have a legal 2-family with an illegal third unit. I just bought this building. I want to make this a legal third floor unit. I need to convert this from a legal 2-family to a legal 3-family. And you'd have to get zoning board of appeals approval. But now in the state of Massachusetts and some other states across the country, the new laws have passed around ADUs, which stands for accessory dwelling units. This is, these are laws that have been passed to sort of allow property owners to increase density modestly, but through like a more streamlined process. So these ADUs, these accessory dwelling units, can be approved by right as long as you fit a couple of size parameters. And so then my thought was, this is a perfect opportunity for us to then get an approved ADU at this 2-family property. So it wouldn't be a legal 3-family, it would be a legal 2-family with an accessory dwelling unit. As an investor renting apartments, that's all that matters to me. So that was sort of the plan that we started to explore. And, I think this could be, assuming some boxes get checked and all this is viable, then that could be this could be a really great deal for us and this our partner that's looking to grow our little portfolio together.
Yeah, even though some of the houses, one of the comments was like, this is, 250 and it needs a roof. That seemed like maybe that's, is that a little crazy? And real estate in Massachusetts in general is pretty expensive compared to other parts of the country. However, Western Massachusetts is actually still more affordable compared to the rest of the state. And from an investment perspective, there's a bit more room for profit, for growth, in terms of a return on investment. And even if a house is 250 or 500 or even $1 million, it really depends on how much revenue or income can that building generate. And then a lot of it, the price becomes kind of relative. Obviously, the lower you buy it, the better. But there's still plenty of deals to be had, regardless of the price. There's $200,000 deals, there's $200 million deals, and
Sure.
depends on how big your pocketbook is.
For sure. And for the record, I do think this 280 price is a little high. We're definitely going to come in lower here. We're cheap bottom feeder investors. We want the best deal possible, especially when I'm buying it from a bank. I think this deal is probably good up to about $250,000 purchase price. But we're going to go in even lower than that and see what we can do, because we're in such a great position with the other property. We know that we can give a really aggressive offer, all cash, no contingencies, 30-day close. And, as quickly as they can get the paperwork done, we can close on this and move on it. So that's could be an attractive offer, even if it's, much lower than the list price. Something we actually just discovered right before coming on this stream is I started looking into the zoning map for the city of Springfield, because we were looking at, okay, well, what zones, like, can we do ADUs, these accessory dwelling units, in every single zone in the city of Springfield? I actually hadn't looked at the zoning map for the city of Springfield ever. So I just, I came here, plugged in the address, and I'll show you what we found. There we go. It's 31-29. They have it backwards. So this is the property. Yep, 31-29 Rush Street. Pull up the property card. And look at this. 3 living units right here. So there's definitely, and this happens a lot, there's discrepancy between what, maybe the assessor, or I guess the property card would be the assessor. But there could be discrepancies between departments at the town hall. So, someone already knows that this is 3 units, but someone told a listing agent that it was a legal 2-family. So there's a little bit of investigative discovery, put my detective hat on,
Look at
uh,
that.
to there's a little bit of detective work here to uncover exactly what the allowances are for this property. But if it's already a legal 3 unit, that's even easier. People just don't know it, and for whatever reason, they don't know to go look at this. I mean, this is class 105 3-family. Um, or they don't know about the ADU process. So even if it was a legal 2-family, then we could just go about the ADU process for that in approval for that third unit, because that third unit is an additional $1,100 and $1,200 per month in rent, which comes out to 1,100 times 12. I can't do math. That's over 13,000 per year in additional rent roll. And it's probably, I would say, an additional $100,000 in property value. So uncovering this information and figuring out exactly what's allowed and what we can do here really makes this deal from either like pretty good as a 2-family to incredible. And we're like this, savviest investors in Springfield. Um, Kidding, obviously, but and having it be a home run deal.
Here's a good question. Someone said, don't you worry if the third unit is illegal, that there's more shady work within the house?
Yeah, good question. If it was the first property I'd ever looked at and I didn't know anything, I would say yes. However, probably looked at hundreds and hundreds of properties, like maybe 1,000 properties online and certainly hundreds in person. Rehabbed, 50 plus buildings in 9.5 years, and built new construction. So I know that I have a pretty good sense of construction and how things work, and I also know that things can be fixed. So when we walked through the entire house yesterday, all 3 floors and the basement, I didn't see anything that was incredibly shoddy work. I also did see 3 electrical meters and 3 panels in the basement, 3 sub panels for the units, and they were labeled floors 1, 2, and 3. So what that tells me is that, if I'm worried about something shoddy in an illegal unit, if there's only 2 panels and I know that they're kind of pulling power off of floor 2 and running it to floor 3 to power that third floor, then that's a little more suspicious. But when I know that they've already um, created a sub panel for that third floor and it's got dedicated electric running to it, then whoever was doing work there, at least had enough sense to do it in that fashion. Um, and there's certainly a number of repairs to be made. Like, we're not buying this property expecting no repairs. So, just with the knowledge and kind of seeing what we saw and knowing we're already doing repairs anyway, if there are additional surprises, they're likely not going to be anything that we can't handle. Plus, we're going to try to get this for a killer price, and that helps too.
Somebody's afraid this deal's really risky. They said their roof looks really risky.
The roof is definitely leaking. Roofs are actually not as expensive as you might think. The roof on this house is probably $7,500 to have it taken off and replaced. And there'd definitely be some carpentry, some plywood replacement, some trim replacement in this area where water's getting in. Thankfully, it'd be a lot riskier if I was going up on the roof and trying to make the repair. Thankfully, I am not. That's not the business we're in. So we just hire good roofers and make sure they do the job right. Know what to look at. I'm not afraid to get up on a ladder and take a peek, but I'm not going to be swinging a hammer up on that gable roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do want to make sure that any moisture that was behind that sort of got into those walls, if there's any rot, that you expose it, you air it out, you make sure it's dry. You don't want to lock in any moisture because mold is going to grow if you do that. If anything's rotten, make sure you replace it. But having built houses from, parking lots to turning parking lots into 3 families, the construction part of it and the repairs aren't really that scary. Take someone who knows what they're doing, but by and large, these problems that look really big can be fixed pretty quickly, and for honestly not that much money.
As long as you know what you're doing.
Yep. Yep. If you don't know what you're doing and you hire the cheapest person that you found in the Home Depot parking lot, and no one's got any license, no one's licensed or insured or any of these things, that these sort of basic things that make you a real company, they just show up with a truck and a hammer, then yeah, there's a chance that things could go wrong and they could screw you, they could overcharge you, they could do shitty work. And then you have to bring in a professional later. That's certainly a chance, but thankfully those are mistakes that we've already made.
Correct.
So
risk comes from knowing what you're not, from not knowing what you're doing. I think Warren Buffett said that. And I'm sure Warren Buffett made a couple mistakes before he got to where he's at now.
Sure he did. Sure he did.
Yeah. You work with one bad general contractor, you never want to do it again. That's why we became licensed general contractors.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like we were just talking about before this, like it's amazing what people don't know. And it's not like you're not trying to like poke fun at like ignorance or anything, but like it's when we say like, yeah, we're licensed general contractors, it's so obvious to us that that's like what you should do and how you should how you should approach the business if you're us. But it's not so obvious to people that just don't have any exposure to that. And it's like, it's an obvious part of our daily operation, but it's like wildly impressive to someone who is sort of outside of that, like outside of what we're doing, or like they have their own world, right? And I'm very bad at forgetting that.
Yeah. I think everybody talks about real estate, like just doing, the investing side and putting together deals. But a lot of times I feel like the world glosses over the actual production of the deal itself. So, the construction and or the management afterwards. And those are by far the two most important pieces of the entire deal, more so than the money. You can raise money on a good looking spreadsheet, but you get in there and you've got a bad operational team, and you'll quickly snuff out that.
You end up hanging doors upside down.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, what property did that happen on?
This one, look at it.
Oh, this one. That's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we did have someone that used to work for us install a door backwards. Like it came on a frame. So like it was an exterior door. So when you open it, normally it swings in, like,
right.
Into the structure, and it was installed the opposite way. So you had to pull it open out. And I look at it and I'm like, dude, what's wrong with this door? And he goes, what do you mean? Nothing. I was like, it's backwards. And he was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm like, he does not work with us anymore.
Yeah.
Now we have real people that would know that immediately. Thankfully, I don't have to look over their shoulder. But
he was a good guy.
Yeah, he tried.
Mistakes happen. All right, cool. Well, it's a good looking deal. We're Wollaston Real Estate Investments. We will see you on another live stream tomorrow. And we'll look at some other deals here in Massachusetts that could be good real estate investments. Feel free to check us out online, wollastonrei.com. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for checking.